Hey guys, Mitch here. Before we get to the episode, just want to give you guys a quick apology. The audio in this episode is going to be a little bit off. Apparently, when I recorded, the audio in my headset was fine, everything was level, but apparently on the recording side of things, it was not. So I want to apologize ahead of time for any sort of audio issues. I have ironed them out. It is going to be better in the future, but I'd rather give you guys a heads up now that my audio might not be the best, but it'll be better going forward. All right, on with the show. What's going on, people? Mitch here, and welcome back to Growing Up Gaming, your monthly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. Again, I want to thank you guys each and every month for returning to the show. Make sure if you guys do want to catch out every episode of this, make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. This week on the show, we have our guest, Here Comes the Woo. I actually met Woo through rating, just like I've met the last 4 people that have been on the show. But I met him through rating. I can't remember what game he was playing, but I remember rating him, and super funny guy, having a lot of fun watching his streams, lots of silly content, which is what I'm all about. I appreciate him being on, sharing all of the crazy stories that you guys are going to hear about all the wild times in West Virginia and where gaming led him there. If you guys want to be on the show just like Woo was, make sure you guys send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 or on the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast. Of course, you can send me a whisper on Twitch. You can comment on YouTube, whatever you guys want to, however you guys can get a hold of me. I'd love to have you guys on. Thank you guys again for returning this month. I appreciate it. And without further ado, let's have a chat with Here Comes the Woo. And that kind of rhymed. Do you remember what got you started playing games? Do you remember who got you interested? Was it a family member? Was it a parent? Was it a relative? Who got you started?
Yeah. When we were kind of out in the middle of nowhere where I lived in, and I remember the Atari, and I remember like the kind of like the wood panels, and because I was really young, and I remember I didn't remember playing too much of it, but I do remember like the rigidness of like the how it had like the little cut, and you're like, I remember messing with that, but it was Mario on Nintendo. We got that, and we would play that. My mom, bless her, didn't believe in shooting games at the time, so I would have like Magic Kingdom, Anticipation, Mario. We did have Duck Hunt.
Okay.
We could shoot ducks, but
Okay.
I remember wanting Metroid so bad, but she was like, "No, you're shooting things." I was like, "They're aliens."
They're aliens, Mom. But
Yeah.
and just for context, so you've grown up in West Virginia your whole life.
Oh yeah.
Got it.
But
I
I will say, sorry for the rest of the West Virginia, but we're on like the eastern part that's
Okay.
closer towards like DC, so we're a little bit more, sophisticated.
Got
I'm
it.
so sorry, it's not like that, but yeah.
Got it. No.
Yeah.
So the reason why I say it is because I was like, West Virginia hunting, duck hunt's fine. Because you're
Yeah.
shooting
Oh.
ducks.
Actually, the funny thing is, I actually did go I went hunting and do go hunting sometimes with my dad. So
Right.
that's okay, shooting animals, but in a video game.
My favorite thing though, it's like duck hunt. Oh, he's used to that. That's fine.
He literally has a gun.
Yeah, he owns. He has
Yeah.
a gun in his hand. It's fine.
Yeah.
But God forbid, fake guns shooting aliens.
Well, I'll probably, I think during that time when they were talking about video games and Nintendo, there was a worry, like a crisis that guns, not like it hasn't changed,
Right.
cause violence. Yeah, but I
Yeah.
remember that being a thing too, like parents, like moms against. It wasn't like like mad moms against drunks
No,
or
I know what
drunk
you're talking
driving,
about.
but I'm like it's moms against gaming. It was like that kind of thing
Oh
too.
yeah. There was like, I mean, it was so funny too because like I also remember Power Rangers back in the day. And there was like moms that didn't want their kids watching Power Rangers because they didn't want them doing like fucking karate moves on their siblings.
Dude, I'm telling you, like I wasn't part of it, but there were so many like Power Ranger like groups at because I remember being like, "Hey, can I be a Power Ranger?" And like
Right.
a school like recess, and the one guy's like, "Hey man, we're all full." I'm like, "Okay, screw you guys. I'm playing sports."
We can't have like a different color ranger that doesn't exist. We can't just fucking
Yeah,
pretend. Like,
no, they have to have rules, brother.
I guess so. No magenta fucking Power Ranger, right?
No,
Red,
no.
blue, Tommy's white or green, depending on where you're at in the timeline. Like, Dude, also I remember Power Rangers Halloween costumes, and everybody was bummed as fuck if like all that was left was blue. You're like,
Oh,
God damn it, I don't want to be the blue Power Ranger. I want to be Tommy. I want to be
oh
Jason.
yeah,
I don't want to be
yeah.
fucking blue Power
Red,
Ranger. He's
green, white.
nerdy. I
Nah,
want to be fucking the white, green, or red one. That was like,
yeah,
and God forbid you got Halloween costumes late, and again, that's all that's left, and you're like, well, shit. I guess I'll
dude.
be Billy.
Again, where I came from, my mom was a teacher, my dad was a contractor. Brother, well, I wasn't getting a Power Ranger. I was getting a homemade ninja costume. If I
Nice.
had time, I'd pull that up and show you right now. There's one of me like in like a white sweatpants with like little like armbands. Yeah, it's
Nice.
very cultural appropriate. You know what I'm saying?
I'm sure those photos bode well today. I'm sure they
Oh yeah,
absolutely
they
do.
go over well. My sister, like, there's one of me is like a GI Joe.
Hmm.
All luckily it was camo face paint, and
Right.
I didn't go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Camo face paint. Thank
It wasn't
God.
nighttime. It wasn't nighttime GI Joe.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, it's funny because like when you said like, oh, my mom was like afraid of me shooting, I thought you were gonna say things like Contra or something. And then you said
Oh
Metroid, like even like
yeah,
fake
even Metro.
alien
Yeah.
violence.
Yeah. Oh, like dude, I remember going. I remember going to my buddy's house and they had Contra. I was like, this is so cool. And
Yeah.
then I go back home to Anticipation, which is just like Pictionary, and like the computer draws for you and you got to guess it. Thanks, Ma.
Well, I
Sorry.
mean, at least it didn't deter your love of gaming though, because I mean, obviously you kept playing
Oh,
games throughout your
no.
life. But like, yeah, I'm trying to think of like, I don't remember. My mom wasn't even really. I mean, Mortal Kombat, I guess, was like the closest thing where my mom was like, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I know what you're talking about though, with like those parents that like sometimes they get in those groups of like,
Well,
yo, this is the worst thing for kids. It's rotting their brains. Blah blah blah
I
blah.
call it the South Park adult effect, where the
Yes.
adults just like start listening to each other and they don't have any reason whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah,
Have
and
you?
like usually like the kids are the smartest part of the TV show.
Right. Have you seen the movie 8-Bit Christmas?
No, I haven't.
Okay. There's a scene in that movie. It's about a kid getting his first Nintendo. That's like the whole it's a
Oh,
great movie. It's on HBO
okay, I'll have
Max.
to check it out.
It's such a good movie. It got put in the Christmas rotation of
Oh,
like we have to, it's hilarious. But what one of the things is like there was the whole group of parents at the school talking about how Nintendo's evil and stuff. And I'm just like, it's spot on though, because there were those parents that were on the news with fucking picket signs in front of
well,
stores
it's
and
like,
shit. I'm like, all right, dude.
and the funny thing is like my mom wasn't one of the picketers. She
Hmm.
was one of the ones that said, "Oh, they're saying that." So you're like,
Right.
okay, well, all right, if they're saying
Okay.
it, mom, if they're saying
Right.
it,
So then I mean, obviously Mario's safe though, because you're just
yeah,
stomping on people's
just
heads.
turtles eating mushrooms and just tripping out, man.
It's so funny too, because it's like thinking about that. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
let's eat mushrooms. Oh, let's
let me eat this
stomp on
flower
people. Oh
and I'll
yeah,
start
that
burning
flower, that
shit.
magic
Yeah.
flower. Yeah, that imagines fireballs shooting out your fucking fingers. 100%. Right? It's so funny because people think like, oh, that's so innocent. Just think about it like for like 5
Yeah,
seconds.
yeah,
Eats
yeah,
mushrooms. He has
yeah.
magic flowers.
We're sitting there and just having a fun time destroying a whole race of turtles.
Yeah, exactly. God
Yeah,
forbid, man. You just those
mm,
poor turtles. What did they ever do? The turtles were
yeah.
just on the screen. They were just walking back and forth.
Honestly, yeah,
They weren't
yeah,
doing
yeah,
anything to anybody, and then you just stomp them out. Like,
yeah. Kick them.
God forbid there was ever more turtle violence in the world because of Mario, because then nobody would be playing any fucking video games ever.
Yeah,
Like,
I will say, I will say when I saw Mario 2, because
mhm.
my one of the family members had that, I was like, what is this game? And then you
It's
started picking up stuff.
yeah,
It's fun. I had a lot of fun playing it.
yeah,
It's like obviously it's like what they said. It was a Dookie Dookie Panic or something
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
It was a completely different game
Yeah,
that, and I don't
but
get how they just where that thought process came from.
oh
Like,
shit, we need a Mario 2.
just reskin this? Like, that's just the
Yeah.
weirdest shit, dude. Like, it's like such an odd thing. But again, there was like a Mario 2. I think
Hmm.
the story was, and I could be wrong. Mario 2 is a thing. It was Mario Lost Levels, is what it was. So if
Yeah,
you ever played,
yeah.
so that was Mario 2. but apparently it was just too fucking hard for America. So they were like, quick, we need something. Let's just reskin this. Which, by the way, Mario 2, not a terrible game. It's just very different.
Yeah, like, and that's what, but it then didn't like Mario 3. That was like
Mario 3 is fire.
Yeah.
Mario 3 is so good. And that's like the proper, I remember like Mario 1, then you play Mario 2, you're like, the fuck is this? And then Mario 3, you're like, okay, we're back. Like, we're back to normal stuff.
We're back, folks. Yeah.
Except for you have a tail and you can fly, and god damn it, was that a good game.
And you can turn into stone. Yeah.
Yeah, there were so many weird things. And that, man, that was, and like that, again, our brains were just like, it can't get better than this. And then it does, because we're dumb kids and we don't know anything.
Well, there's a couple gaps. I never really was a Nintendo boy after that. But I just always feel like, when you say that, I think of like GoldenEye and Nintendo 64. The graphics are so damn good.
Oh my
and then
god!
You look at it, you're like
squint-eyed, like what the fuck is that? What am I looking at right now? Yeah, that was like, I mean, graphics on console. It's weird too, because like as time went on, like graphics obviously got better and better and better. But yeah, it's funny where we thought this is as real as it gets.
Yeah.
And then you look at it and it's just a picture on a square face and you're just like, what the fuck? It was just a picture. It was an actual picture that details in the picture on a square face. Yeah. That's all it was.
That's what that's why when like PlayStation came around, I was like, like, because they started getting a little refined there too.
Yep. So you had mentioned, so obviously Nintendo and your mom. Was your dad cool with you playing games too? Like, did he really care, or was it mostly your mom kind of like, you should not be doing that?
They weren't a big fan of like, well, because I was like, I wrestled, I played baseball and football. So like in between those times, I'm putting in games because I can't drive anywhere at this time because I'm not
sure.
And also I'm in the middle of nowhere, and like the closest friend is like 2 miles away.
Yeah.
With the family member being able to drive.
Right.
I have a story. We'll save that one for later.
Right.
Yeah, one of my crazy buddies who I still game with, but no, like, so then my dad it's kind of funny because like he like worked a boatload for us, because working construction, he would work regular hours, work extra hours, and he was like the hardest working dude ever. And both my parents, they graduated in the year 1969. Nice. But they graduated that year. And so like when they both grew up like very poor families and they see me playing video games, they're like, dude, you got to do something constructive. You got to do something this. And I'm like, this is my happy world. And so like, it was just not like a battle, but it was just like trying to, do what I need to do, but also be like, come on, let me play the video game.
I think the other thing too is growing up, depending on the environment you're in, middle of nowhere. Dude.
I went outside and frolicked as much as I could because I had a neighbor who he and we would go outside. Like, we have a big, huge forest in the backyard and all this stuff. And during the March and like April, when all the rain would happen, there's a huge ass like sinkhole that we found out that happened probably when I was like in like later parts of grade school, and I would build Legos, and they had a big, huge like water like stream that would go every spring, and I would float my Legos all the way down and try to catch them before the sinkhole.
Oh Jesus!
And, yeah. And we'd be like running down because it'd be so much fun. And then like, my mom would be like, "Why are you so wet?" I'm like, "Should have played video games, huh?"
Yeah, it wouldn't have your house all soaking wet and shit, Mom.
Yeah. But no,
I like, because what's funny is because my grandma's from West Virginia, and I remember as a younger kid, like we would go there. I used to live in Illinois. We would go there, and like every kid there had a Nintendo. Every one of them. Well, because
what part are you talking about, northern or like western?
Western, I believe. I'll have to get you an address because I don't remember off the top of my head. But like, I just remember like where my grandma grew up. It's definitely in the fucking mountains, definitely in the middle of fucking nowhere. And like, you go down a dirt road to get to where they are, and then there's just like a gathering of homes, very cult-like, if you ask me. I love you guys. I love you guys. But like, there's like 6 homes in one area that's surrounded by like just forests, and I'm like, but it happened to be all my grandma's family. And I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
this is weird, but whatever. Like, and there's like a
You
random
know
house
what?
that doesn't belong to them. I'm like, who the fuck lives there? And they're like, ah, don't worry about them. I'm like, okay.
I kind of want to worry about them.
Yeah, kind of what are they okay? But no, like it's just everybody there though, it was kind of a thing where it's just like there's just nothing to do.
Yeah.
And during certain months, like you can't do shit, right? Weather just won't allow
Yeah.
it. So
And
like it
especially
seemed like
like
everybody had video games in their house to like kind of pass the time. But I remember that was where I first played. I don't know what baseball it was. It might have been RBI baseball, but it was like a baseball game on NES. And I remember
mhm.
as a kid, like not giving a shit about baseball and not really knowing much about baseball. Cause at the time when I was growing up, like I grew up just hanging out with my buddies, but we didn't really play too many sports. We just kind of fucked around and caused chaos. You know what I mean?
I think that's why my parents wanted me in sports, so I didn't fuck around cause
Right,
chaos.
exactly. Not saying I was like
No,
terrorizing
no,
the
no, no,
neighborhood,
no,
but I was
no.
just
I got you.
basically acting like a jackass. I was doing
Yeah,
like
yeah,
we did dumb shit. Like,
yeah.
oh, my buddy's dad has a rope. Let's put a stick around the rope, swing it around the tree, and pretend to climb it like Batman and shit. That's
Oh
the
hell
things that
yeah,
we did, right?
hell yeah,
We just pretended to be superheroes.
yeah.
But then video games happened, and then we eventually would just go to buddies' houses and play games all day long. But yeah, like I remember this being there, like, bro, they didn't even have like street lights, right? Like when it was dark outside, it
Oh
was fucking dark outside, homie. Like there's
yeah,
no lights, and people just stayed in their
at
homes,
all.
and like that's all we did. Like when I went and visited them, we just played video games. So, but also I think it's just depending on the environment you're in, because if you're in an area like here, for example, in Arizona, no one plays in the summertime here. No one.
Really?
Because it's 115 fucking
Oh
degrees
yeah,
outside.
yeah,
So in the summer months, everyone's inside playing video games. In Illinois, it's the opposite. When it's snowing, a
yeah,
foot of snow outside, everybody in the winter time is all inside playing video games. But I think it's just the environment you're in, because, like you said, like if you don't have much to do, or especially like you, if you don't have many people to interact with, right? Like
yeah,
if you have like miles between you and a neighbor, and then you have to
yeah,
rely on mom or dad who are busy working all the time to try to take you somewhere, that's where video games become more of like, not like a need, but definitely a more important part of like you just having fun and trying to like not sit there and just be bored to death. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. And it wasn't like I was a latchkey kid because my mom would teach at the same school that I was at, but
Oh, okay.
sometimes I would ride the bus home, and so then I would just video game up or get ready for practice or whatever we needed. So
Right.
yeah, it's just how we are. But when you mentioned snow, this is the story I was going. Might as well just get it out.
Let's get up.
This is probably Sony, so like PlayStation 2. Kind of, I made PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. We were playing a lot of NHL and Madden, and my buddy, he mentioned to us during the snow, he's like, "Hey, do you want to like hang out?" And I'm like, "Buddy, this is like one of the blizzards. How are you?" He's like, "Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." About an hour and a half, 2 hours later, I get a knock on my door. It was him. He walked 3.5 miles in the snow and made it towards our house.
Just to play
And
games.
just to play games because he was so bored at his house because it was his sister and his mom and dad. And so he just
He just
cheated.
left in the
Yeah.
middle of a snowstorm.
And it was like, I'm not kidding you, it was a blizzard. Like, because where we live, the roads are barely touched.
Right.
And so my buddy Dusky, well, that's his like gaming name, but
Yeah.
like he sits there and my mom and dad were like, boy, come inside.
Yeah.
So they get him, and so like he stayed until like the roads cleared. So I think he was like with us for 2 or 3 days. It was
Homie
really funny.
risked hypothermia,
Oh
frostbite,
yeah,
just to be
oh
like,
yeah.
I cannot stand to be in a home with my family. I need to play some video games.
Yeah.
That's
So
fucking
so
crazy.
we had a blast, dude. We were like back and forth, but
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Dude, oh my God, man. Like I can't even imagine. Again, your poor parents were like, why the fuck is he on front porch right now? What is
Yeah.
going on? Why is this kid in the freezing cold right now? And he's just like, y'all got PlayStation, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you go to extreme lengths and shit. I personally, I wouldn't walk in 3.5 miles of a blizzard for video games.
No.
But at the same
No.
time, how annoying is my family? Like how
Yeah.
fucking tired am I of hearing my sister bitch? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
gotta do
Yeah.
what you gotta do, I guess.
That's
But
one of those memories where we just always talk about, and I never even asked like the internal why, but it must. I'll have to ask him like
yeah, what, yeah, definitely get a why and get
what
back to me.
Because like I never really thought about that until now. I'm like, dude, I just was like, oh yeah, he came over.
Also, I'm thinking, as a parent, if
Yeah.
my child's like, "Yo, dad,
Oh
I'm gonna take a trip,"
yeah.
go get the fuck in your room. What's wrong with you? You're not leaving
Yeah.
this house. Look
Yeah.
outside.
Like but like again, his dad is an outdoorsy guy who's like always
He's
like
like, "It's
hunting.
fine."
Yeah, like like, dude, I remember going fishing with them, and I loved them dearly. And like, he was like part of like the '80s, '90s, like cigarettes, and like I'm sitting there like on this boat, and like apparently I'm sensitive to cigarette smoke, and like we're catfishing and we're doing great, and I'm like, got any Advil or anything? I had a headache. He's like,
Hey,
fine. He's like, I don't got nothing.
what a pussy. Let me just smoke.
Yeah. It was the last time that I went fishing with them.
I
Like,
bet.
I was like, but I had so much fun with them. But I just wish I like loaded up on Advil.
Bring a whole like packet, a whole
Yeah,
bottle in
because
your pocket and
because
just pop
they took
some.
me to where like near the Chesapeake Bay where like it rises and lowers during upon tides, and it
Mhm.
was so cool. And like we were on low tide catfishing, and we were getting these big ones. I'm like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
this
for
is
sure.
awesome. Yeah, so
That's
I was like, man,
funny. That's
but yeah,
hilarious.
I love
But
his
yeah,
dad.
his
His
dad's
dad's
probably
just
just
like a no
like,
nonsense. Going golfing with him is
yeah.
really funny, especially when he was older, because he would shank it. And you're like, oh shit, fuck.
Dude, I remember it's funny because like I feel like West Virginia breeds different people. My grandma was the most non-grandma you've ever seen in your life. Like most grandmas are like they knit and they bake. My grandma worked as a welder for Caterpillar tractors. Like
Oh
my
shit.
grandma was hardcore as fuck. My grandma like owned a couple different houses, like so she would rent them out and stuff. The front porch on one house was just deteriorating. Like it was just it got wet. She built the whole porch. She
God
did.
damn.
My grandma would like my sisters were like, we want a clubhouse, and she built it with fucking a roof and siding, like a clubhouse that
Holy
was outside.
shit.
My grandma was
Wow.
hardcore as fuck. But I mean, and like I said, I've never seen my grandma like be a grandma. I had my
Yeah.
mom's, that was my dad's mom. My mom's mom was
Yeah.
the opposite. Oh, sweetheart, let's come
Yep.
on. We'll get you whatever you want at the store. We're good. And my other grandma is just like, Mitchell, what the fuck? What are you doing? like,
So
like,
my grandmas are the same, like same but different. Dad's mom was the very sweet one. We called
mm-hmm,
her Nanny, and
mm-hmm.
Nanny, who's a sweetheart, she's like, you still going to school? And we're like, yes, yes,
That's
yes.
a
I'm
great
only
grandma voice, by the way. I just want to point out
yeah.
that is a great grandma voice that everybody listening just got triggered by. They're like, "That's my grandma."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. She was like, like I'm in middle school, yes, but I forgot when she was growing up. At that age, you may not
school.
be going to
Yeah, yeah,
school.
yeah. You
Yeah,
may be
it may not be.
working in a
Yeah, you may
coal
be working.
mine.
And then she'd also be like, "You still wrestling?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, I'm still wrestling."
Right, exactly.
But then my other grandma, she really didn't. She was a bartender for most of her like adult life,
Yep.
and like so, and she had cigarettes and
Yeah.
like my sister aligned more like both of my grandparents I didn't have granddads, but my grandparents were my grandmoms were much older because my mom and dad are 30 plus years older than me.
Hmm.
So my grandparents were much older, so I
Yeah.
didn't have them until like they, you know what I mean. So there was no like there's like two generation gaps where I didn't
Sure.
even like I was spoiled as hell compared to my grandparents, especially my grandma. She's just I think
Eh.
she made macaroni for me one time, and I think the milk was bad because I remember like just like she was just like, "Here's some macaroni." I'm like, "Thanks, thanks, Mimi."
Yeah, my grandma made. I remember like my grandma would just be quick to call you stupid. Like most grandmas are intelligent, like they try to be caring. And my grandma would call you fucking stupid to your face. She didn't care.
Oh man,
Like
so
oh my god, dude.
the
Yeah.
funniest story about our Mimi, like my mom's mom. Um, so one of my we do this family bingo every Christmas. It's really serious. Like we play amount of rounds with how many games. That's the first round. You open your presents at the end of that round. Then you try to play the same amount of games, second round, and you could steal.
Right.
So like someone could rake in if you're winning several games in that second round.
Right.
Well, my cousin brought in his girlfriend, and she was like kind of flaky and like that. And before anyone could say anything, my grandma Mimi sitting on the recliner, be like, "We got to get that crazy out of the family quick before it gets in." And I was like, "Holy shit, Mimi!" I mean, and she was right because that girlfriend didn't last. But holy shit,
Yeah, just
Mimi was
out
hardcore.
loud. Yeah.
Yeah.
West Virginia grandmas or something else. My other grandma was from Texas, and she was a sweet, loving woman who was
Oh.
just like, "Oh, it's okay, we're gonna have fun." Like I'd go out to Texas every year. We would fly out to Texas and visit her for like a month, and she was just like,
Oh.
"Oh yeah, don't worry, we're gonna have such fun. We're gonna go to SeaWorld. We're gonna do this and this." Me and my other grandma is just like, "You're thin. Eat some food." And then she would just make
Yeah.
me endless amounts of fried chicken as much as I wanted. She was just like,
Oh,
because
hell yeah.
my grandma wasn't a baker. She was like, "I'll make you hamburgers and fried chicken." And by the way, my grandma's fried chicken to this day holds a special place in my heart. It's amazing. It'll never be replicated. It'll never be duplicated. I don't care what you say. But that's what I'm saying. Like that grandma was so hardcore, and I can imagine just, I don't know what it was. If it was in West Virginia, it was just her upbringing, whatever. But yeah, she would. The weird thing though with that grandma, and I spent a lot of time with her because she was 5 minutes down the road.
Mhm.
She actually played video games with me.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like she had a Nintendo at her house. Again, anything to get me over there, right? She's like, "How can I get my kid or my grandkid over here? Oh, I'll have a Nintendo here for him." And I remember like going to her house. She played mostly like Tetris and Dr. Mario, like the puzzle games. But bro, as a child, seeing her play Tetris, I was like, "This is incredible," because she was just good at it. And again,
Yeah.
my just dumb brain just didn't process how to play Tetris properly, and hers did. And I remember watching her play those, but like anytime I'd play anything else, she'd be like, she's like, "Nah, I don't have time for this shit. I'm not doing this." But I would go over there. I would literally go there, and I would walk into the house, and she'd be playing Dr. Mario. Like solo dolo, not encouraged by me. She's just like, "No, Dr. Mario, I'll play
Dude,
this."
you got like I just hear like because I played Dr. Mario a lot too, and I hear
Yep.
I'm like that
Yeah.
triggered everyone. I heard that.
Yep.
But so like when I was like going through like wrestling through all these tournaments, baseball, and football, my mom and dad got me a Game Boy. And when you
Nice.
triggered, there were when I first got my so it came with Tetris.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had Super Mario World, and then Wario's
Woods.
I can't remember, or like Wario's Wonderland, or I can't remember what it was
Yeah.
called. But anyway, it was his game, and I almost finished that one. It was so much fun. But
Right.
my mom stole my Game Boy for so much to play Tetris, which is funny you say that. And she beat it the one time, lost her mind when the rocket came up, and I was like, my mom plays video games.
Right. Tetris was that one, like I think just puzzle games
Yeah.
in general. Because also my grandma was big into like Reader's Digest, fucking crosswords and shit. Like my grandma was just
my mom's
she was
like
just big
that
into
too.
puzzle games and stuff. So like I think just anything puzzle related was easy for them. So
Yeah.
also I imagine too, like you said, Game Boy. So for all these like especially wrestling meets, I'm sure you guys had to travel.
Dude, yeah,
Far
we
as shit.
travel like luckily for us where I lived, there's like the tri-state area. The farthest we would drive for a tournament on the regular would probably be an hour, hour and a half.
Right.
Just because of where I was, like it'd be so close to like the 4 different states. Now, if I had a good year and I made it up, and I would have drive to like state college up where like Penn State is, that was a long
Right.
drive, and the tournaments, were pretty long. So it was nice to be able to have the Game Boy there. But you better bring in backup batteries, boy.
You better bring batteries. You better get a light. You got to have something to catch the light. Man,
Yeah,
the worst driving without a light and then catching the street light every so often to maybe get it. Oh my God. It was so rough.
I was so mad at my buddy. He had the extender buttons, he had the lights, he had the extra battery backpack.
He had the Optimus Prime Game Boy where it was just
it's like everything.
Yeah.
And here I am just being like, please sir, I'd like some more light.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like that was rough. But like the funny thing too is, again, it sounds like a cheat code, and we still have that cheat code to this day when it comes to tablets and stuff. But like, dude, you give a kid in a car, if a kid in a car doesn't have something to occupy their time, they are fucking terrible to drive with. They're just, I love my children very dearly. But if I did a 2-hour car ride without some sort of tablet or entertainment in front of them, I could not fucking stand them. And because they would just say, "Are we there yet?" Because that's all, again, "Are we there yet?" It's just, I'm bored.
Yeah.
I need to talk about something. And
Yeah.
what the fuck? You're going to talk about the trees that keep going by? You're going to talk about that cactus? No. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, we're not there yet. So giving a kid, see, like with our generation, it was Game Boy, right? Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Or if you were freaking rich, a Game Gear.
Ooh. Dude, you know what's funny is like I thought Game Gear was cool, and then later in life I played one and I'm like, yeah, Game Boy was better. It's cool.
Yeah.
Game Boy was better. It was just color and it backlit, and then talk about a battery suck, by the way.
Yeah, it was so huge too.
Six double
Yeah.
A's.
Yeah.
For how long, dude? Like
Yeah.
what? No, thank you.
It was wild.
It was wild. But like that was one thing that definitely helped out. Like I didn't get a Game Boy until Pokemon happened. Like I played like my buddy had a Game Boy, and I remember playing Zelda. Because Zelda on Game Boy was actually really fucking awesome, by the way. It was actually a good version of a mobile game, if you want to call it that. But like, I didn't get one until Pokemon. But as soon as Pokemon hit, I was like, Grandma, I don't give a fuck if you drive 12 hours any direction. I got Pokemon. I'm good. Like, and then, again, for her, it was awesome too, because she didn't hear me bitch, right? Like, it was super easy.
That's one of the main reasons why, like, when I had an Xterra, like, I pulled out the headrests and bought like headrests that have like the LED
screens in them stuff. Yeah,
plugged it in, hooked it up to my. And Craig, you're not listening, but I had a switch that would ignore the brake. Like if you weren't in there, it would.
Yeah, allegedly you had that hooked up.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah. I didn't do that, Craig. But no, that was so that way when we would go down, like, because I would drive overnights to like the beach, because we would go 6-7 hours at the max, and they would fall asleep. Except for my eldest, he had the hardest time, and like he would watch through like his third movie, and he's still awake, and it's like 6 a.m. I'm like, buddy, we're almost there. Just go close your eyes. He's like, all right.
We drove to, and this is back when we didn't have enough money to buy plane tickets. So we live in Arizona. My in-laws, my brother and sister-in-law, they live in Minnesota. And we drove 26 hours straight. Me and my wife did. We did it 3 or 4 times. And the worst part is, like, it's not like there's enough of a break. We would go there 26 hours, be there for like 4 or 5 days, and then go back. And that's just not enough time between driving 26 hours straight.
No.
But the kids didn't say a fucking thing, because we had flip down screen in the middle, had movies, whatever movies they wanted to watch. And thank God, because like I said, for the most part, they were cool. Now, everybody's got a phone or a tablet. Like when I drive anywhere, I don't really hear anybody bitch. Like they're in their own world doing their own thing. So, like I said, as a parent now dealing with kids, it's way easier. Just because, it's not way easier, but I understand, right? I understand the need of like, give them something so they don't fucking bother me. And, but also too, it makes it easier for them too. Cause like my daughter's done that.
Such a long trip. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my daughter, like I said, when they're watching, but if they're just watching movies and just hanging out, eating snacks, watching movies, it's the same shit they're doing at home, but we're just happen to be going 70 miles an hour on a highway somewhere. So for them, they didn't really complain at all. Like occasionally the only thing is I have to go to the bathroom. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. But like I said, that was the only thing that sucked. It's like, we just got off a gas station. And I'm like, gotta go to the bathroom. I'm like, God damn it.
I was about to say, to grind your gears. You're like, guys, we just went to the bathroom.
We were just at the fucking gas station a half hour ago.
Who said they didn't have to? Like,
we gotta go on the goddamn road. I don't want to drive anymore. Like,
talk through your teeth, Dad.
Yeah. Get that grumbling.
We're not
exactly.
getting anywhere if we just stop every 20 miles.
Exactly. So then, like I said, so you're playing Game Boy, you're playing Nintendo, and then where did you go from there? You went. So you said you weren't really a Nintendo kid, so you went Genesis.
Well, the funny thing is, you say that. I wanted SNES so bad because I saw Super Mario. That looked so much fun.
Yeah.
Because it looked so beautiful. It was so cool. My buddy had that. And then I don't know how my parents, like for so in 4th grade, our house accidentally burnt down.
Oh no.
And so, yeah. And there was like the house was like 15, 16 years old, and it was built by family members and friends, and they did all the work, and my dad put a lot of the work. There was just either a rodent or something hot
shoot a
wire.
wire.
And it went from my mom's and dad's room, started up there. The AC picked on, said, "Hey, brother, we're too hot," and it just shot over because it's a Cape Cod to my sister's room.
Oh my
and burnt
God.
that. I was wasn't planned, and so my bedroom was downstairs, and so like everything was smoky, and so like when I had a Nintendo, the game would somewhat work. Some of the games would work, but like I had a friend of mine who gave me another Nintendo with a boatload of games that had shooting. So I was like, we kind of
Yeah.
got over that.
Nice.
But after that, I was like SNES. My parents, I don't know how they didn't like their
Catch on to that.
brain catch on to SNES, or like there was like a boatload, like maybe they went somewhere and says, hey, we don't have a SNES, but we have a Sega. It
Right.
was probably my favorite thing because like I played so many Sega games. But yeah, like I remember I first got Columns, and they gave me NFL 95,
Right.
which was a cool one because if you would sack, it would be like, call it. And so you sit there like, oh shit, you could talk smack when you sack somebody.
Dude,
So
my
yeah,
favorite thing too is like I remember NHL 94 on Genesis. My uncle had a Genesis, and I don't know if that's how because when I went to Texas, he had a Genesis. And I don't know if that was the reason why I ended up getting one or not. I don't remember what it was. I also thought Sonic was awesome.
oh yeah, that's what came with.
Yeah, Sonic was awesome. So I mean, Sonic's cool. Like, and I remember the marketing. And again, it was like the right age where it was like,
yeah,
Sonic's cool, Mario's not, meh. And then you look
yeah,
back and you're like, those Mario games were 10 times better. But it's okay. We don't talk about that.
yeah.
But
We don't
like,
talk about that.
we don't talk about that. But like, you don't want to make the wrong choice as a kid. But like, I remember getting a Genesis, but like NHL 94, all I would do is try to hit people as hard as I fucking could.
Oh yeah,
Because they'd crack their head on the ice. They would
Mhm.
bleed on the ice, and then a fucking or they would have like a cart come out and get them, and like same thing with the football games. They'd have a fucking ambulance like drive on the field. I'm like, I just murdered that guy. He's on the ground, fucking unconscious. I'm like, dude, this
Yeah.
is super violent for like. And by the way, that was the simulation game. That wasn't like NFL Streets or any
No.
NFL Blitz. That was the
No.
actual simulation that had a guy's head bleeding on the ice. Holy shit. Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. But no, I
Yeah.
loved like the NHL, that Road Rash was also another one I played.
Dude, all three Road Rashes I
Fucking
played.
swinging the chain and
Dude,
smack
when
the
they
shit
brought
out
the
of
chain
somebody.
in,
Yes.
He's like, yes.
Those are
Dude, that was
so
the best.
good. That is so close.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like that whack when you hit him with the bat. I was like, that's so satisfying.
Dude, I also
And then,
like
the music too
Oh
was
my
so
God.
great on those. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
like, I
think
played that. Any of the Desert Strike, Jungle Strike,
Yep.
which was kind of fun. It was difficult. Streets of Rage 2. The music themes on that, fight me bar none, is better than most of anything I've ever dealt with.
Dude.
Like when it comes to like, I remember hearing that soundtrack so good.
I think it's funny because like I remember, and the other thing too is at the time though, I was like, I didn't think I made the wrong choice whatsoever, right? I had Genesis.
No.
I was like, fucking Genesis is awesome. I don't care what you say. And I remember going to buddies' houses who had like a Super Nintendo, and like that was always the funny thing. Like I had a Genesis, all my neighborhood
Mhm.
friends had a Genesis, but then there was like one kid that I knew that I would stay the night at their house, and they had a Super Nintendo, so I still got to like see what that was
Yeah.
about and stuff. But I can definitely tell you, like Genesis was definitely the if you were to do equivalent terms now, they were the kick, and Twitch was the Nintendo. Twitch was like Nintendo's like, we're safe. We don't have crazy things on here. And Sega's like, we have games where you can rip people's fucking heads off.
Yeah.
We don't care. This is like the adult version.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm turning into a dragon. I'm gonna bite your bloody head off.
Yeah.
And then blood just starts dripping out.
Yep. And then in Nintendo, that was not happening. There was no blood cheat code. There was nothing like that. And I mean, it's like crazy to think about. And again, like I get where Nintendo was coming from. They were trying to cater to that family audience, and they weren't trying to upset their family audience. And I get that.
Yeah.
But Genesis was like, yo, check this shit out. And they just straight had wild shit on there. And I mean, like I said, I mean, Road Rash, there was no game where you're beating people's ass with a fucking chain going down 100 miles an hour.
Though, like a motorcycle game you're driving on your own is enough.
Right.
Genesis said, hold my beer.
Yeah. Gave you fucking bats and chains. And it's like, dude, this is nuts. And like I said, I just thought like, but at the time though, as a kid growing up, I was like, Yeah, I made
Yeah,
this is the right
yeah.
choice. And everybody who had Super
Well,
Nintendo when that came out, they were just bummed. They're like, Mortal Kombat
I never
sucks.
even I never even thought about like the choices. Just once I started playing it, I was just like, "Oh, this is fun." And
Right.
so like I remember that, and so the the and I remember like I don't know about how you are, but like with my friends, there was a barter system, like because obviously a lot of us probably didn't grow up, you know, affluent enough to be
Right.
able to purchase what you wanted. And so like I'd be like, "Hey, I'm kind of tired of this game. Would you want that? What other games do you have?"
Trade,
And
like,
so
yeah,
like
borrow games back and forth between each
yeah, yeah,
other.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
And so like the one that I did that I was so kind of proud of, which kind of switched a little bit. I had NHL 95.
Hmm.
I can't remember if it was 95, 94, 96, one of those three.
Right.
And my buddy had Green Day's Dookie on cassette. And I traded that. And I'm telling you, dude, that's one of my favorite. I'm showing my age on cassette.
Right, right, right.
It didn't hold up as well. I'm sure the cartridge still plays, but like I don't know if I
That
have
tape is
the
probably just wrecked.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
those
I just remember
tapes had a
listening to
shelf
that.
life. Cartridges don't.
Yeah, that's why I was like, "Oh, it's so good." Because that was probably one of my favorite albums growing up was Dookie, just
Right.
because of that. Because I would put it on the background and listen. But yeah, and so that
That's
we would always
funny.
trade. And I'm trying to think of the Sega games. Oh, there was one called Zero Tolerance, which was like a Wolfenstein.
I remember the
It's so
cartridge. I
good,
just never played it. I remember the
dude. It
cartridge
was
though.
so good. Like it was like you're going through these like this level of a big huge skyscraper,
Hmm.
and the higher you get, the more closer to aliens you like it's going, like it's showing like you're fighting these guys. And it was so cool. Like it was like Wolfenstein, but it was that one was so much fun.
Did your mom ever let up on like the shooting stuff in games? Did she ever? She
Yeah,
eventually was just like, all right.
once the fire happened,
Hmm.
and then like that friend gave me a boatload of like
Stuff.
games that had like she was that, and I think she understood that like I wasn't gonna shoot people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that was the other thing too. Is like, as long as you raise your kids right to like just it's hard to say, right? You can't say raise your kids right because I'm sure people, parents of
Yeah.
kids who did terrible shit thought they did right
Have
as
right. Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like that was one thing with me as a parent, like growing up, like with teaching my kids playing games. I was like, they were asking, "Hey, can I play this?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
like
I was a
not
little
saying I was like
protective
that
too.
strict parent, right? But there's still like certain things I'd rather not see my kid see at a certain age.
Yeah, like
Not even like playing it. I'm talking about just seeing it. I'm like, yo,
yeah.
your small brain cannot process this yet. Like,
Yeah,
it
like
just can't.
one of my like it was so wild. Like my kids were like the eldest was just about getting ready to go to middle school, and like his buddies are playing GTA. And I'm like, I still think you being like a fifth grader seeing GTA stuff go, you know what I mean? That's
Right.
wild.
It is wild. And like for example, like my son, I remember it sounds so stupid, but he'd be
No, you're
like,
good.
he started playing games and he's playing Minecraft and all those things. And then he started getting interested in like seeing me play Call of Duty and stuff. And he's like, "Can I play Call of
Oh,
Duty?" And I was like, "Yeah, Battlefield and Call of Duty, I guess you can play those." And then he'd be like, "Can I play Assassin's Creed?" And I was like, "No." And the only reason why is because in Assassin's Creed, you get right up and close in somebody's face and fucking stab them up their face with a sword. I'm like,
oh.
okay, no, like
Yeah, there's
that's a bit much. And then he's like, "Can I play Gears of War?" And I was like, "Fuck no,
no.
fuck no. You're chainsawing people in half and shotgunning people into chunks of people.
Yeah.
No, you're not playing Gears of War." So it's like, and like GTA was definitely like nowhere fucking near what he was going to be doing. But that's what I'm saying. Like I always like made sure that it sounds weird though, because again, as a dumb American, I'm like, oh, shooting people in Call of Duty, that's fine. Go play
Yeah.
that. That's fine. But no, like that was like this just the context of like, God, imagine like there's no way I wanted my kids playing that. And even still, like now it's weird because my son will be, he's 17 at the time or something. He's like, "Can I start playing these games?" And I'm like, "I guess you kind of can now." Like, yeah, I've basically, hopefully taught you right to where you don't think this is real or don't think this is appropriate and know this is a game and not real life. But that's the thing is like, that was the one thing for me is like, I went over buddies' houses whose parents didn't give a fuck.
Oh,
And
yeah.
those parents were awesome, by the way. You go over there and watch R-rated movies. You go over there and play mature-rated games. You can give a shit.
Dude, you don't
Yeah.
know like how like the world is like honestly, you're just like, I can show you the world. And you're like,
Right.
the fuck is that?
What
Like,
is Child's Play? what is
What have I missed?
what
Yeah.
is what is Nightmare on Elm Street? What am I
And
missing? It like,
you
yeah.
mentioned that, one of the Sega games that I borrowed was Splatterhouse 3.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
pretty
like, so you're
violent
going
game.
through that mansion and like you're going in like just hacking shit and like
Right.
that's like what I knew. Like, mom didn't care. Like, it's not she didn't care. She just
She
it's a
knew
battle.
like you were cool and you weren't gonna fucking freak
Yeah,
out.
it's like, as a parent, it's a battle where like it's not worth the fight because it's just not.
Right. And like even still to this day, my daughter, Addison, she's 8, and like she had a friend come over and they're like, "Can we watch Scream?" I was like, "Fuck no. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna have you watch what the fuck? No, you're not watching Ghostface slash people into pieces. No, what the fuck is wrong with you? No." And she's like, "My mom lets me watch Scream." I'm like, "Good for your mom. Go fuck yourself. You're not
Yeah.
watching it in my house." Because I know my daughter, and if she watches anything like that, she's gonna have nightmares. She's gonna be fucking
Yeah.
freaking out. I'm like,
You're the
"No."
one gonna have to deal with it to wake
Yeah,
her
yeah,
up.
yeah. Like,
Or
no, I'm not
wake
letting you
up,
fucking
yeah.
watch Scream. And then, like, my daughter looked at me like I was an asshole. I'm like, nah.
Mm,
If her mom wants to let her watch that shit, that's on her.
yeah.
But also now I know why her kid is kind of like that. I'm not gonna name
Yeah.
whose friend that is, whatever. But no, like I'm just like, there's certain things like it's not even a matter of like, it's just age and maturity level. Just making sure like, can you
Yeah.
handle what you're about to watch? And that's
you
a
can
hard thing
see
to
it,
gauge
yeah.
sometimes because some kids
Dude,
catch that shit too early in life, and it's like.
another thing is like, obviously my dad would be gone already for a construction job, but my mom, I'd like, "Hey, can I ride the bus to school if you're okay with that?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine." And so I would wake up early, go to my friend's house, and then I would go there and we would watch Terminator 2 before school, and we would catch like 20, 30 minutes of Terminator 2, and then we'd ride the bus, and I'm like, "Yes, I got to see Terminator 2."
Dude, that's
And like that and
awesome.
Predator are like one of my all-time favorites,
Right.
like when it comes to like action movies. But because of that, we were like, "Yeah, that was my way of circumventing because I wasn't seeing it in my house, brother."
Right. Right. Exactly. No, that's funny. And so,
But then she was like, she hears me say, "Where did you get Hasta la Vista, baby?" Like,
but kids at school, kids at school, kids at
yeah,
school.
they were saying it.
Yeah.
The kid.
Always blame kids at
Michael.
school because it's just
Yeah.
it's a group of people. It's not an individual. You don't
The
rat out
problem with me
one.
is,
You're
like,
saying I learned this as a cultural thing from school.
I like when I was growing up, I had truthful Tourette, so it would just spit out and be like, she's like,
You ever get that? Man, I just think back of like A Christmas Story when he
"Oh
said the
yeah."
F word. Where did you hear that? And he ratted his boy out. I'm like, you don't do that. And then his boy, she called the mom, and the mom like whooped the kid's ass. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Oh,
dude, don't
Jesus.
rat your boy out. Rat the
Mm-mm.
community. Like,
Yeah.
you tell the community.
See,
I learned this at
I-
school from people, not one.
I wasn't
people.
smart about that. No, I
Yeah.
wasn't smart about that.
So you have your Genesis, you're playing Road Rash, you're playing
Oh,
like
dude,
the
just
Jungle
loving
Strikes
life.
games were awesome. Those were all fun. Also NBA Jam.
Oh, see, I missed that. I was more
Oh
Madden.
my God.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I didn't care about Madden. Like, and it was weird. And I don't know why. I didn't actually really get into football until I became older. Like, until I became more of like an adult.
yeah.
I actually didn't like, maybe because my Chicago Bears are fucking trash. That could be it. Just saying. Yo, in the 90s, if you lived in Illinois, if you weren't a Bulls fan, something was fucking wrong
yeah.
with you. Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you're not wanting to watch the greatest human ever playing basketball ever? What are you talking about? So, like, everybody played basketball. Everybody played basketball. And football, they were just like, nobody cared about baseball because it was the Cubs and the Cubs suck. And no one cared about football because it's the Bears and the Bears suck. I remember my family in Texas tried to get me to be, yeah.
He didn't even notice the White Sox. He didn't say it.
No, fuck you, White Sox fans, fuck you, White Sox fans, Cubs all the way. But like the other thing too is I remember my family, because again it was the 90s. My family in Texas was like, the Dallas Cowboys are the greatest football team ever.
Oh,
so they got me all this Cowboys shit, and then later in life I was just like, no one wants to be a Cowboys fan. So I to this day, like I have family in Texas. I love them dearly. They're all great, wonderful people. They just happen to root for a football team that no one should. Sorry, rest of America who thinks the Cowboys are good. Mook, I'm talking to you right now. I'm sorry, you're the only one in the friend group who likes the Cowboys.
You have no souls, Cowboys fans.
It's our year. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Okay, now I preface this by saying I am a Commanders fan. But the reason why I was big into football, because in 89 and 91, they had
Mm-hmm.
really good seasons.
They did.
And so, like, it was the glory day. My dad he was hog heaven, happy as can be,
Right.
like, because that's his team, and like, it was my team. And
Right.
then he and I growing up football when I was in school. Oh man, it was rough. We'd go watch some Sunday football games together. Oh, dude, I would just be like, "Hey, Dad, I'm gonna go outside right now."
Dad's not
Like,
very
not even
happy
play
right now.
No, like, not that he was mad, like, I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, this is not a good game to watch.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it was
Sometimes
rough.
those games you shut off. You
Yeah,
gotta learn when to shut it off just for your own sake. You're like,
yeah,
I'm just gonna get angry or sad or both. I'm gonna end up
but
pissed
yeah,
off crying because my
but
team's
yeah.
this
So
bad.
during that formative time, like NFL was a big deal for me because like
Right,
I just grew up being an NFL fan,
right.
and same thing with baseball, Orioles fan.
Like for me, it's funny too because like sure, like again, I didn't really like football that much. I didn't really do anything like
Mhm.
that. But then all of a sudden, like NBA Jam. It's not even like I played NBA Live or anything. Like the actual basketball
Yeah,
games.
Jam.
Jam was just that whole arcade series of shit. Like NBA Jam was phenomenal. Dunking from
Yeah,
half court and shit. It's just
I
fun.
remember my buddies had that. Like when one of the buddies that I would go to wrestling practice, my mom and dad would drop me off there because they had something to do, and I would go and we would get there early and we'd play NBA Jam, and I just be like he would be like from downtown, boom
Yeah.
shakalaka.
Oh yeah. And also they had the cheat codes where they had like Bill Clinton as a character. You're like, what the fuck is going on in this game? There's just weird characters and shit.
I never knew Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton was in there. I'm almost yeah. I can't remember which version it was. If it was tournament edition one, but they had like secret characters, and one of them was Bill Clinton. Don't know how that got approved or how that's
I
loud or anything, but yeah,
did not have relations with that basketball.
yeah. Boom shakalaka meant something different in the Clinton
Yeah,
household. Yeah.
playing some sax, baby.
So
But yeah,
no,
so
like
and
those
real
games
quick,
were that was funny because like that was the only sports games I really got into and everything. So then you did. So you were saying how you didn't do Nintendo. No, okay, actually, this might have been different. Did you go PlayStation or did you go N64?
PlayStation. But right before, I want to mention, I remember playing Tony La Russa Baseball '92 because I know we're trying to move through a little bit. And like, dude, that Tony La Russa Baseball Sega Genesis had 32 cards, 32 cards in that cartridge that explained the lineup, their pitchers, all that stuff. That like, I as a baseball nut, I was like loving that. And then I switched to Hardball '94. I would do like the simulation seasons where like I could actually change the team, the players' names to like my buddies on my Little League team, and we did that. So I remember playing a lot of baseball games like that. So, but then, yeah, we went to Sony. I can't remember if that was a gift or that was me starting my GameStop. Hey, I got about $350 worth of things. How much is it worth? Can I please have a PlayStation?
Right. That
And so,
yeah.
yeah.
You went PlayStation. I mean, I think also at the same time, I think if you were a Genesis kid and then you went to N64, to me that transition didn't make sense
Well,
because
because, yeah,
I mean PlayStation was again that like angsty, like had more crazy games and stuff like that. Like Twisted Metal was the one that got me like, you're
oh,
blowing
dude,
fucking
Twisted
cars up. This
Metal.
is awesome,
Yeah.
right?
Like my buddies and I, we'd spend hours playing Twisted Metal. That was so much fun.
Absolutely. Give me one moment because I have
Yeah.
I have an alarm that's going off in the other room that my kid left on, and I'm gonna cry my eyes out if I don't go fix that and have this in the
You
podcast. So give me a second.
you
Be
do
right
that.
back.
Yeah. You do you. Hey, chat, how are you doing? Hopefully, you guys are doing good. In the comments down below, please follow, like, subscribe. Go to Mitch's channel. When you go to Mitch's channel, actually follow that on twitch.tv. You can follow, subscribe, Prime subscription. Do you guys know about Prime subscription? Prime subscription? I can't even speak right now. Oh, hey, how you doing? No one said anything.
Yeah. No, it said anything at all. It's not like I have a wireless headset and I just walk away and I can still hear things or
totally. I was like,
anything.
oh shit, yeah, he can't hear that.
No, my daughter, for whatever reason, left her phone downstairs and an alarm was just going off in there. And I'm like, if that's on this show right now, and I want to apologize if anybody heard an alarm in the background, I'm sorry. But sometimes your kids do things that piss you off. My whole house is falling apart, guys. Everything's just falling apart. I'm leaving this all in, by the way. I don't care. I'm leaving it all
I
in.
don't care. See, the best part about it is like me and my camera situation
Right.
at the start of this, and now you and your
Just
situation.
my whole house is falling apart. I have an alarm going off in the background. My fridge right now is wide open, which I'm getting up to close right now. Like,
Our pets' heads are falling off.
our pets' heads are falling off. This is the most crazy episode of this show ever. My wife coming in saying a diamond's out of her ring. Like, it's okay. We're good.
Oh,
We're good. We're good.
Oh,
we got
that's
insurance. We got
serious, yeah.
insurance for a reason. If a diamond fell
Okay,
out, we
all
got
right.
it. We're good.
Yep, all right.
But she's still sad right now. I'm very sorry, but we're good.
Dude,
We're fine.
you're probably gonna catch some ear on that one.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
Okay.
We're good. Maybe. But anyways, back to video games. What the fuck?
Dude, as a parent, no, I totally get it. I totally get it.
Yeah, no, it's all good. Yeah, it's just, chaos is happening. It's one of those days, guys. But guess what? We're here. We're talking about video games. There's nothing wrong with
Yep.
that. So you went
So-
PlayStation.
Yeah.
And
then
what were some of the games you remember playing on PlayStation? Like, and also one question. So was there a period of time where you stopped playing games at all? Or were you just constantly playing games all day, every day?
there was a good period. Probably we'll get later into that.
Yeah.
Like,
But-
but yeah,
You were playing PlayStation. And
PlayStation and like a Final Fantasy 7.
yeah.
That one like sucked a lot of my life
Right.
because like I was playing football and I remember being on the sideline and my buddy and I were talking about how many hours you got, how many hours you got. And we're like almost at the same time. I'm like,
Right.
where are you at? He's like way farther ahead than me. And I'm like, oh, because like I just was having so much fun. Resident Evil 2 and 3 I played a lot.
Yes.
Or no, Resident Evil 2. Because the 3 might have been later on. I can't remember if 3 was on PlayStation.
There is on PS1.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But then it was, I'm pretty sure I played 2 the most and then 3 a little bit.
Right.
Played a lot of that. Madden, NCAA games. I was playing a lot of those football games.
Nice.
So, yeah.
It's funny because like I don't know what piqued me to getting it, but one Christmas, because my grandma in Texas was the cool and like basically
Mhm.
like pick 2 games. I'll get those for you
Yeah.
for Christmas. That was kind of my Christmas present from
Nice.
her. Every year up until I stopped
That's
playing video
awesome.
games. Basically, she was just like, just pick 2 games. Whatever 2 games you want, I'll pick them up for you. And I remember one year I asked her for NFL Game Day, which was Sony's like version of Madden, basically.
Oh, yeah.
Like that was the Sony Studios like version of Madden. And I remembered, I don't know why the fuck that year I decided that be one of the games, and again, like I said, I wasn't even that big into football really, but I just thought it was fun. And I remember like they had a high dive button where it was like a higher jump over a pile of people. And it's just weird shit that like weird memories of that. But like, again, it's like, why the fuck did I choose that? For a while there, it was like, yeah, Resident Evils. It was, for me, the Tony Hawk games. And
Oh, yeah.
that's what led to me not playing video games, was actually playing Tony Hawk, because I realized skateboarding is fucking awesome. And I just skateboarded instead. I'd stopped playing games for my whole high school.
If I had, and I'm telling you this, if I had, like, if I'd have grown up with like any kind of pavement in my
Right.
area, I would have been, because we had just had a gravel road. But I
Right.
remember getting the Pizza Hut demo
Yes.
of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, and it's just that, and then just hearing Superman by Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Oh,
Over
man.
and over and over.
And I
and
would
over.
just try to, I would just try to get my score, and then there was Crash Bandicoot Racing was on, I think, either on the same one or another one.
So I remember like Spyro was on one, Crash was on one, Metal Gear Solid had a demo on one of those.
Oh yeah, sorry, I played a lot of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
too. I remember just hiding in a box trying to beat the shit out of that game.
Right. Like, it's funny because like those demo discs, especially like you said, when you grew up and you didn't have a ton of money to get all the games you wanted, those demo
Oh,
discs were
no.
fucking everything, dude.
Yeah,
Just play
Yeah,
them
yeah.
over and over, man.
yeah. And funny now, as a parent listening to Goldfinger's Superman now, they did a 2020, they did a lockdown version
Yes.
of them redoing it, and I almost teared up because like when I shared the song, I'm like, oh, this hits harder than it did.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. By the way, if you are a fan of Superman, Goldfinger did that band. By the way, phenomenal. Second
Yeah.
thing, they did a ton of songs during lockdown, which were great.
What was their second hit that was really good? Because I listened to that and really loved it as well.
They had, I
can't
mean, they did a
remember.
remake of 99 Balloons, 99 Red
Yeah, yeah.
Balloons.
Yeah.
They also they had a song called Get What I Need, which is one of my favorite songs of theirs. But they did these lockdown versions, and they were just recording in their own homes
Yeah.
and mixing
And
it,
like
but it
sounded
sounded
really good.
awesome. Like they just
Yeah.
did a really
They
good
killed
job
it.
with it. Yeah. And like, yeah, like those demo discs, it's funny because I equivalent those demo discs to free to play games for us now, right? Like example, kids have free to play stuff that they basically can just download and play, and they can play it over and over, and they don't have to worry about paying for it. That was our demo discs. Like that
Oh
was
yeah.
what we had, right? Like we had demo discs that were free. You had to get them with like a Pizza Hut or a magazine or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But like we would just play them over and over. And it was like
Oh
fucking a
yeah.
5 or 10 minute snippet of a game. Or in Tony Hawk's case, a 2
It's
minute
just
level.
that one level.
Just
Yeah.
the
And you
warehouse
you would just
level
get that. Yeah.
over and over and over. But no, it was, I wouldn't change that shit though, dude. Those games. And
No.
also
It
they
was
did their fucking job though.
yeah,
They
because you wanted to play that damn game. You wanted it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You just wanted to play that game over and over. And like then it made me get Tony Hawk. It made me
Yeah.
want to do those things. So yeah, just those games are great. I miss,
That's awesome.
they are awesome. So you know what else is crazy? I
What's
think
crazy?
right now your video's lagging.
My video's lagging.
I
So like
think so.
in the middle of your conversation, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but in the middle of your conversation, you were like roboting,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't know if it was me or you because I have fiber and I'm pretty solid, brother, over here. But I'm
Oh my
like,
God. All right, guys,
if
here's what
I'm
we're gonna
like,
do. We're
I'm
gonna do a
not
quick,
lagging on my end.
you're not lagging on your end. Okay, I'm gonna end the call real fast. We're gonna do a quick cut. You're not even gonna notice it. Ready? Cool.
And we're back live. Don't forget, we had a couple of edits there. Don't worry. We're back now with your favorite streamer, number 1116 in your books, but number one in your hearts, Mr. 1116.
You're welcome. Don't worry about it. There was definitely no technical issues whatsoever. Nothing. He just did that in the middle of the show for zero reason.
Oh, shit. I just wanted to do the cool intro there. I forgot all about that. Damn it.
You fat dork. So back to what we were talking about
Yeah.
before all the technical issues
Demos.
and interruptions that are happening in this episode, which is just crazy. So yeah, like when it came to like the demo discs and stuff like that, like that was our free to play equivalent, right? And I'm very happy that's happened, but it also made me want to buy those games.
Yeah.
They did their fucking job. And it's weird because like demos still exist, but not really. Like no one puts emphasis on them anymore, like at all. I think now because YouTube exists, just give a fucking creator the game, have him make a YouTube video for
Well,
you and gift you hype about it.
I think they're more rushed than they were back then. Like,
Right.
because like developers are so like have to get, especially publishers. Publishers are like cranking on the developers nuts and just say, "You gotta go now, brother." And
Right.
so like we have no time for a demo.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I did play the Final Fantasy VII demo
Mm-hmm.
and like the remake demo.
Right.
So like that was kind of there, but I don't like you said, I don't.
I think the
I
only
think a lot of
companies,
these big ones.
I think it's honestly, you know what it is? I think it's Japanese companies that do it because like Square did it with Final Fantasy. Capcom did it with Resident Evil. There were demos.
Oh, yeah.
There was demos of those. So it's like they tend to like, maybe that strategy model still works for them. Maybe they just put it in their development budget or cycle. Like we got to get this demo out. I don't know.
Bet you
but
like it sounds like the publisher understands and respects and like knows that they're going to put out quality stuff. And,
right.
like a lot of these other developers and publishers are just like, we got to put something out there.
You know, it's weird because now, obviously, I am not in the games industry. I do not know all the ins and outs of what it takes to make a game, right? I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, I know how to do this, how to fix this whole. No, I don't fucking know, dude, right? But at the same time, like, I just feel like it's way larger of a business now than it was then, to where
sure.
now more dollar signs are looked at instead of
Yeah.
the actual quality of the game. And that's just my opinion
Yeah.
because like gaming as a whole is fucking stupid big, right? So now people are seeing dollar signs, are making stockholders happy and shareholders happy and all that stuff. But then we have games that come out because like also too, there was no fucking patches you could put in games back then.
Oh no.
You
put it out.
had to make sure your shit worked, but at the same time, they didn't have like, oh, like games got delayed all the fucking time too. I remember reading magazines of like the game will come out this day. Where the fuck is the game? And then like a couple months later,
magazines now.
Yeah. Yep, we're fucking old. It's okay.
No,
No, but like gaming
could you
magazines
imagine
then.
could you imagine Cyberpunk coming out back then as bad as it was?
No.
Like when it first, yeah. So that was
That would kill a
wild.
whole fucking studio. That would kill a
Yeah,
studio if you
yeah.
released a game that bad.
I mean,
And
it
believe me, there
almost
were
did
games that
anyway, but
bad
they
back in the
cleaned it
day.
up. Yeah, yeah. But
It's
like,
just so weird.
mhm.
I can't imagine like but like I remember, for example, there were the only example I can think of where a game came out and it was actually broken. It was actually one of the wrestling games, like No Mercy or something like that. They had a bug on certain versions of the cart where it would just
Wow.
like erase your shit to where like they fixed it afterwards and reprinted the cart and it had like a different
Wow.
number on the back. That was the only thing I can think of like a game launching that actually had a game breaking bug to where they had to like, we're sorry
Yeah.
if you had this problem. We actually have a fix for it. But their fix
I
was,
don't remember too many.
yeah, well, like again though, because I think back in the day, like they didn't want to have to reprint and fix a game and reship it to fucking everybody. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they didn't want to basically give somebody 2 copies of the game because also those carts weren't cheap either, right? Like, and making games like that weren't cheap. So, but I remember the funniest thing was WWF Attitude because again, if you were a kid of the 90s and early 2000s
Oh
and you
yeah,
didn't watch wrestling, again, something was fucking wrong with you.
yeah. It was the hip thing to be.
It was super awesome. But I remember WWF Attitude on PlayStation. Speaking of games that had release dates and then just didn't come out, like I called a Walmart every fucking day
Oh.
saying, "Did you guys get WWF Attitude?" And they were probably like, "This stupid fucking kid calls every day," right? But like it said it came out May whatever year. And I'm like, "Cool, it should be out." Call, no. Call, no. Call, no. And then like 5 months later, eventually came out. They're like, "Yeah, we finally got it." And again, it wasn't like there was no internet to like. It was super early days of the internet. Let's say that.
Yeah.
But it's not like now where they were very like instantly communicate with you. Oh, this game's coming out here. Like you'd be stoked for a game, and then you get the game magazine and you look at the ad, and then it was 2 months later or 3 months later, and you're just like, "Fuck." I mean, to be honest, they still kind of do that. I have a GTA poster in my garage, GTA 5 poster that has a release date on it that is not the fucking release date when it came out.
Yeah.
But like it sucked back then because games, but also at the same time, I would rather I'd rather you wait to release the game and it not be broken than put the game out and it suck. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
games now definitely have that like sad factor where they come out broken as fuck and
Mhm.
eventually they get good. And I don't want
Yeah.
games that eventually get good. I'd rather you
The
just release a
problem
game
is
that's
they
good.
eventually get good is like they're going to be covered up by games that are released that are good, and
You know,
attention's yeah. That's the tough part.
Cyberpunk's the perfect example. Like Cyberpunk came out, and the thing that sucks is like depending on what platform you played it on, it was actually fine. Like apparently on PC it was fine. It wasn't like
PS4,
bad.
PS5. It was,
They were a fucking mess, right? And then like a year later, they had that DLC came out, and it was great. Like people love Cyberpunk, and everybody's like talking about how good the game is now, and it's like, yeah, but Baldur's Gate 3 came out, but this came out, but this
Yeah.
came out. Like, do people give a fuck to
Yeah.
go back and play it now?
And not only did it just come out, but like Baldur's Gate was so much fun. Like
Yeah.
and it's such a good game.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, apparently, this just recently got talked about. There's no DLC for that game.
No,
There's no
they're not
expansions
doing
for that
that.
game. They're just
And
like,
they're not doing a Baldur's
here.
Gate 4.
No, they're just like, here,
Yeah.
enjoy it. We're done. And I'm like, that's again, but also when you make a game like Baldur's Gate 3, you can kind of swing your dick around and do whatever you want at the same time. Like you were like, yo, we won Game of the Year on fucking everything.
Well, they put 7+ years into it.
Right.
Like,
but again,
'cause,
that's
like,
what
the
shows
voice
when you
acting,
have
yeah.
when you have the time to put into a game what it does, and when you don't have the pressure to be like, it has to be out by fiscal year this, like,
Yeah.
you just get time to do it. Like the only
Yeah.
company that's a large company like that that can swing their dick around is Rockstar. Rockstar will literally say, fuck yourself. We're not saying a word about anything we're doing. You'll shut up and you'll like it. And then when we put out a
Mhm.
game, it'll sell 10 million copies day one and everybody will love it.
I'm like I am not going to be able to put any estimate on what's going to how's it going to sell for GTA 6.
It's going to explode. It's
Yeah.
stupid. And like,
Yeah.
I love the fact that, like I said, Rockstar is the one company where they can seriously be like, what are you working on? Shut up.
Mhm.
We're not going to tell you shit. How about that? Like, how about you shut your mouth and we'll show you a trailer and you'll lose your mind? How about that?
Yeah.
And there's very
Yep.
few companies that have that kind of brass to be able to do that. But I appreciate that Rockstar is like, absolutely that studio. They're
Mhm.
just like, yeah. And I mean, again, GTA 6 will come out. I think GTA 6 will be the game that comes out and literally changes a lot of people. Like, it's going to make people go, oh shit, look what you can do in a game. And like, look
Yeah,
at
it's
this world and look at what this hardware can do with these open world games. Like, yeah, I'm very excited about that. So,
it'll be interesting to see how where all that comes up.
right. Absolutely. But speaking of GTA, PlayStation,
Yeah,
PS2 era.
yeah,
Did you stick PlayStation the whole way then?
yeah. I was a PlayStation boy all through.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I couldn't. I had to pick one,
mhm,
and my buddies were huge into Xbox when it first came out, the original.
yeah.
And then they got into the Xbox? Was
360?
it 360 after that? Yeah,
360 was actually, yeah.
yeah. And so like I would go over there. We would have LAN parties. And there'd be Halo
Oh,
games.
yeah.
And because I was like a PlayStation boy with a PlayStation controller, I'd be there and I would just like, I'm kidding you, my two best friends, actually the three, two of them were online ranked and like not like competition, like I'm going to competitions ranked, but they were up there in the top tier rankings,
Right.
online play. And I'm stuck with them in LAN parties. I would always
Just getting
like
dusted.
yeah, I would always change my team to like Team Brown because we were just shit. And whoever was with me, we were just gonna have a fun time camping and try to get them.
Right.
But dude, yeah, so Halo, I loved it, but I hated it because I didn't have the time to practice to get good.
It was funny, like, it's so weird. My journey was Nintendo, then
Mm-hmm.
Genesis, then PlayStation, then Xbox. I didn't give a fuck about brand loyalty on any of it, dude. I was jumping ship either every time.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
like Halo was it. Halo
Oh
changed
yeah.
everything. And I'm like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm an Xbox kid forever now. And like that's like I'm still I again just want to be clear, I don't hate
Yeah.
any consoles. I have all three right now. They're all staring at me right there. But does one get played more than the other? You're fucking right, it does. Like this controller is the best controller ever fucking made. I'm sorry. I love it to death. But like that's what happened like for me is like but that's what I'm saying. Some people get PlayStation and they just stick with PlayStation. And
Well, because
PlayStation's there's nothing wrong with PlayStation at all. It had
yeah,
banger games, but just
yeah,
the multiplayer stuff. If multiplayer was your jam, Xbox was
yeah,
fucking it.
yeah. And I remember like PlayStation 2, I got like one of the SOCOMs. I
Hmm.
started working at a retail like grocery store. And all my buddies like, hey, let's get the SOCOM game. And there'd be like eight or nine of us. And somehow my 56K internet would allow me to
Hmm.
play. I don't understand how. And it wasn't
When
that
you think
bad.
back on like, yeah, how the internet works and everything and how
Yeah,
speeds were, you're like, how
and
does
it
this even
wasn't
happen?
and it wasn't that bad. But somehow like we would play. And that's where like I got my name, Here Comes the Woo, because I would snipe and I would be like, woo on the mics, and they would just be like, God damn it, Casey. And
That's
so like
awesome.
and so then my next PSN name and the
Here comes
final
the woo.
one was Here Comes the Woo. And so like we'd play that and I remember that just the fact that and there was Resident Evil it was something operations
Outbreak.
or outbreak, yeah, where like you would
Online.
have situations and I was like
Yep.
you could play that online. I was horrible at it, but I remember like trying to play online with people and that blew my mind.
Right. Yeah. I also remember like back in the days, like that was also another thing. Like when I got my Xbox, or let me phrase that. When I got high speed internet, when I got cable
Yeah.
internet for the first time, I didn't have a
Oh
computer.
wow.
I just had my Xbox. And when the
Yeah.
installer came up, he goes, "Cool, where's your computer so I can hook this up?" I'm like, "I don't have a computer. I have an Xbox right there. I want you to hook up." And he looked at me like I just told him something in Chinese. He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about right now?" He goes, "I need a computer to set this up." I'm like, "Figure it out. I need it for that. I
Yeah.
don't have one."
That's
So then
funny.
he's on the phone with fucking tech support, like, I don't know what to do. Like he's freaked out,
That's
but
so
then
crazy because
got
like
it
you're
to
just like you need
work.
an Ethernet cord
Yeah,
cable. Yeah.
got it to work. And but like Halo 2 Online was it. And like
Oh,
I
dude.
remember PlayStation back in the day. That was the big thing too with like online play. Like Xbox had a gamer tag that was used on everything. PlayStation, you had individual names for every game. You had individual friends
Oh
lists for every
yeah.
game. And then PS3 happened, and that's when they
And
went
then
the
that's it cleaned
one.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which thank God, because like,
Yeah,
dude,
because they had
imagine
to.
every online game we played having to have a different. Well, what's funny is kind of still the same thing with like the Epic account and the Activision
Yep.
account. It's still kind of like that, but not really. You can still kind of
Luckily,
make
they
it.
have a single sign-on. They can kind of make it through.
Yeah,
connected,
for the
but
most part.
yeah.
Yeah, if you got like an Xbox or PlayStation account, single sign-on, for the most part, you're good.
So
But
during that time, I forgot. Like, I'm also a little PC guy because my mom had a
ah,
Tandy and then an HP Pavilion. So my love for PC games, Roller Coaster Tycoon. I lost my
yes.
shit in that.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of the RTS, and this is where my love for Blizzard came in. Warcraft 2, StarCraft, Diablo 2.
Yeah.
Dude, playing when you were younger, playing Diablo 2, lights off, and you're just in there and you hear the music, dude, that nostalgia button right there,
Yep.
that's the best. So like there were some times where I would play like any of the strategy games that I could, Age of Empires, Red Alert or Command and Conquer, Red Alert.
Hmm.
So like those were some of my hours there. So like it was like it's so funny how I went like it was like PlayStation, PC, and then like I started playing with my friends when I worked at that retail store and
Right.
went back to like online PlayStation. So
Right. We never had a computer that was worthy enough to play games. So I
hmm
never got into PC gaming. Like I was always a console boy. So that was me. That's what I did. So, wasn't bad at all. Um, as you were, so you were PC, you were PlayStation, but did you just keep doing PlayStation? Was it mostly PlayStation that you just kept doing throughout and everything? There's no way the internet just broke again. Show. There's no way the internet just broke again. There's no way the internet just broke again. Is it my internet? Is it his internet? This is the most chaotic episode of this show, guys. And I want to apologize right up front. This episode's chaos. Everything's breaking. I'm going to be doing a lot of editing this show. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm
We're
so
back.
sorry.
We're
Dude,
back.
it's
No, no,
back
no. It's
me.
cool. It's cool. Don't worry about it. We're going to play into it. This is the most chaotic episode of this show ever. Don't worry about it. No big deal. We'll fine. We're editing stuff. It's cool. It's cool. I have timestamps. Don't worry. We're fine.
I have the most secure internet I've ever had in ages. I kid you not. Like when I've like, because that was another thing we were talking about when I grew up,
Yeah.
like what I dealt with. And like I was like, I'm finally paying for fiber. Because like in college, they're like, you gotta have a T1. You gotta have a T1.
T1 was
And
it, dog.
yeah. And then
It's okay. It plays into the show. It plays into the show. Don't worry about it. We're fine. He might have just frozen up again, but we're okay. We're good. Don't worry about it. Holy shit. Oh my God. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're going to wait for him. We're going to see if he comes back. Is it my internet? I'm going to check right now. Is it my internet? We're going to take a look right now. But anyways, we'll talk about how T1 lines back in the day were absolutely it. T1 lines were very much a necessity. If you want to do any crazy high-speed gaming on PCs. I remember who's back. He's back. Don't worry about it. He's just shaking his head. For any audio listeners, he's just shaking his head. Yeah, my internet's good, homie. I'm just double checking. It's okay. Don't worry about it, Woo. Don't worry about it. We're fine. We're fine. Everything's good. We're just playing the show. We're talking about T1 lines. We're talking about all this stuff. Woo, it's fine. Say something, Woo. Say something, Woo.
Am I lagging? Am I lagging?
You're not lagging right now. You're totally fine. You're totally fine. It's good. Don't worry about it. We're having fun. We're having fun.
But yeah, so having some issues. But yeah, and then so what really got me into PlayStation 3, I couldn't afford it. I was working.
No one could, by the way. That shit was $600 when it launched. Go on.
Yeah, a part-time job.
Right.
And I was still living with my parents, and I think I was I came back from college, and I was going to college as well. So I came back from a major university, went to a smaller college, because like I was burnt out on school, and luckily being able the smaller one helped a good bit. My boss, who was super cool, like one of the coolest guys, like, hey, I'll buy it for you, because he had no kids, it's just him and his wife. But each paycheck,
give me a
just
chunk.
give me what you can.
Yeah,
give me
yeah.
what you can. And I was like, sweet. So then I gave him this, and I said, if you don't mind, can I like have a paper and sign it, so that way it keeps me honest, so that way like because I want to make sure that you get yours. And
yep, absolutely.
He's like, you don't have to. I was like, but I really would like to. And he's like, okay. So then
Integrity. I appreciate that.
Yeah, we kept it like that. And dude, and we played I played a boatload of Call of Duty with him and the other guys at work. Black Ops 2. Oh, man. Even like Modern Warfare. I can't remember which one was before Black Ops 2, but I just know we lost a lot of our shit
It was either 2 or
just
3.
playing.
I think it might have been Modern Warfare 3 because I think it was Modern
Yeah.
Warfare. It was Modern Warfare 1, then World at War, then Modern Warfare 2, then Black Ops,
Mhm.
then Modern Warfare 3, then Black Ops 2. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
like yeah, there that whole group right there. And then when we were talking about like when did you stop playing? As I met my girlfriend, wife at the future wife at the time, in like July of '09. So like gaming stopped after that because like
Oh, really?
she had a kid, and
Mhm.
so it was really hard for me to like to game and focus. And then that November, so a few months later, she had two second cousins that were getting ready to go to the state because her cousins weren't able to follow through with the taking of their kids. And
Mhm.
she said, hey, I'm going to foster to adopt these, can you help? I'm like, I'll do the best I can. And my little guy Chase, I remember Thanksgiving Day, like this is like a few months into the relationship, sitting here, and like he's nonverbal because he didn't like they had like a lot of verbal issues growing up because they didn't really have anything. He was just sat in a corner. So
Jeez.
he's sitting on my lap,
Mhm.
just looking up at me and just leaning up on me. I'm like, oh no. We just took to each other. And
Right.
so I couldn't say no. So we went up and fostered adopt. And so like I go from video gaming everything to like three young kids under the age of 4,
Jeez.
trying to
Yeah.
help her. And so got married in 2011, adopted them in 2011, and then 2013. Like there'd be small little games here and there. Also forgot to mention before there, World of Warcraft was a big deal for me.
Oh, I can
I
imagine.
spent some time into that, but yeah, there'd be some games in there, but like nothing consistent, just because you're so busy. And then 2013 we divorced, and then like during the times that I didn't have kids, gaming like at
Came
work,
back.
and it was gaming came back, and that's when I was really focused on like getting a PlayStation 4 at the time. I remember playing Diablo 3 a lot. That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I know a lot of people shat on it because it wasn't Diablo 2, but I remember being on console and it'd be my buddy, myself, my other friend. Like these are the guys I've grown up with.
Exactly.
The one guy that walked through the snow.
The snow to come play games.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he and I, and then my other buddy and his wife.
Got it.
We would play 4 screen. We would spend a whole day like
Nice.
on my weekends with them, and we would play Diablo 4, or Diablo 3, just having fun.
Nice. Like I mean, everybody, that's what I'm saying. I have noticed that people that I've talked to in the show, some people have those breaks and they're extended breaks. Like mine was 4 years of skateboarding. I just
Yeah,
didn't fucking care about video games because skateboarding literally took over my life. I didn't want to do anything else. I woke up every day. I went to school. As soon as school was over, I skateboarded till I went to bed. And that was like that for like 4 years straight. Some people got really into sports. Some people got into other hobbies. But I mean, the cool thing is like, I mean, obviously brought it back. Eventually it came back. Mine was actually working at a video game store. I got a job working at a video game store, and that's what brought it. I was just like, I missed
floodgates.
the only thing I will say that's awesome if you missed a chunk of gaming is going back and hitting all those things you missed
Dude.
because they're all
Yeah.
out, right? You don't,
Yeah.
example, I showed up and like all these games were already out. So I didn't have to like play this, wait years, play this, wait more years, play this. All were out, and I can just experience all of them for the first time back to back right away. And I just thought that was awesome. Like that's the only good thing about taking a chunk off gaming is like there's no lulls, right?
Yeah.
4 years or 3 years or however long it is, you got stacks of games that you can play and catch back up.
Yeah. Like just recent in the streaming aspect, I was a very like social butterfly, so playing Call of Duty 2020, I played a boatload of 2K
Mm-hmm.
because when like we had a group of 8 of us that would play 2K like basketball. And we would just rotate in and out like after our jobs because you're supposed to be secluded in your home, just nonstop. Like I looked at the hours on my PlayStation of how much I played. It was sickening.
Yeah.
And so, but like I played that game, a boatload of games. Fortnite was in 2017. Like we played, I think it was just like tail end of that, and then played a boatload of that. Apex when it first came out before the seasons on PlayStation, and so like I played everything like that. And then when I started streaming, I'm like, I want to play story games that I haven't played in a long time. So I rebeat the was it the remake for Resident Evil 2?
Yes.
That was fun.
Awesome.
I did Uncharted 4. That one was fun. I
Uncharted's great.
did what was the God of War, the 2018 edition,
Hmm.
where it's just like basically boy,
Yeah, boy, all
simulation.
game. Yeah,
Yeah,
the great
boy.
the good. It's so wild too that God of War like reinvented that itself with that game, because literally that game was
Oh yeah.
not like that on PlayStation 2 at all. It was a
No.
hack and slash fucking combo fest. That's all it was. And then
It's,
huge change, but also
yeah.
for the better, because that game is way better in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
The
why it was
remakes
so
of them.
much fun like playing these single player games that have such great stories that like I'm so grateful that I can do that with
Hmm.
this, you know what I mean? And so I understand when you're coming back and you're playing games that you haven't played after that break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of the
It
same
was
thing
pretty
when you
wild.
get a different console too. Because at the time when I started working at the game store, I had all the consoles. But
Mm-hmm.
like example, I didn't play a lot on PS3 because at the time 360 was it. Like 360
Yeah.
was the
Oh yeah.
console of that generation. PS3 wasn't,
Yeah.
for multiple reasons. But like I got a PS3 like later in the life cycle, but then all of a sudden I didn't play any of the Uncharted games. So I went back and played 1, 2, and 3. There's just like games that I didn't like, the Infamous games, which were really fun games as well. Like those are all games that like it's cool when you get like a new console sometimes later in the life cycle and you're just like, here's fucking 20 games you can play that are all stellar and fun and you don't have to wait for any of them. So
Yeah.
and also
Do
now
you
with like,
remember
yeah, what's up?
do you remember when Sony got DDoSed during the
Oh
PlayStation
yeah,
3 area a whole month?
a whole
Can you imagine a whole month of online play being down?
that's insane. that's
Yeah, like
that's
I remember like
nuts.
that I remember taking advantage of that because I was married at the time and I was busy so I wasn't playing as much. But I remember like that being a huge deal. Like I couldn't believe.
Dude, yeah. And I mean, again, it's like I can't imagine that same situation happening today, because imagine how no online would
Oh,
affect
we're
bottom
so
lines on endless games, right? How much money gets
yeah.
made with the fact that it's online regularly? Not to mention, you couldn't download games. Like you couldn't do
No,
anything on your
anything.
fucking console except for play games that were on a disc, dude.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons like why I remember like my Xbox buddies were like,
Hmm.
this is why we pay for a little bit online early. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the other thing too, is like the arguments like, well, I don't have to pay for PlayStation Online. I'm like, I get what I pay for, bitch. Like Xbox
Yeah.
Live's awesome. I have parties. I have this. I have this. I have all these things that are
Yeah.
awesome. And yeah, like again, it's like, but here's the thing, like that could never happen today, only because some consoles are digital, and it would literally be a brick if that
Oh,
happened.
yeah.
It would be a
Yeah.
paperweight at
Yeah.
that point. There's nothing it could do.
Yeah, and a
And
lot of these games you have to access online in order for it to like bring up your save data.
yep. Bring up save
Dude, it's
data.
wild.
But I mean, even like your digital games, like verifying you own the game.
Yeah,
Like any of
yeah.
that shit, like you need online for, dude, a month it was down. And like
A month.
a
Yeah.
month. Meanwhile, I was playing Call of Duty on 360, having a
I
blast.
know.
I'm like,
I know.
sucks to suck, you know? It's
Yeah.
okay. That was also like stupid people. Like, I don't want to say console war stuff has died down, because it's still happening on the internet because people are
Oh,
stupid,
yeah.
because people are really dumb. But I don't think it's a problem. Like back in the day, I feel like it was way worse. People were like, "Ugh." I feel like it's gotten to the point where people are like,
Well,
either shut up or we're all on PC. Just shut up, right? Like
yeah.
now, so many people have just migrated over to PC. They're just like, shut up. PC's better.
Yeah. As a grown adult, I'm like, I just went to PC just because like
Yeah.
in 2019, like when I got a PC, like my first like really nice one, because I've had laptops and as a single dad, it was tough like getting things together. But I bought my first like really nice PC, and here I was spending the most time playing Heroes of the Storm with my buddies on it. And like, you really don't need a really nice PC for it, but yep.
Right. And that's the other thing too, is like for me, like I had buddies who, like, the one sad time was when PS4 and Xbox One were coming out. All my buddies were on 360, all of them. Like we were all on
Yeah.
360. And I don't know what fucking happened, But all of a sudden, when like those consoles got announced, a lot of my friends were like PS4. Like, we're gonna go to PS4. And I was like, no, I'm sticking with Xbox because I like the controller, I like my friends and all that stuff. But like, that's what happened with like Buzz, Dame, Jay Nice, all those people I play
Well,
COD with. Like,
yeah,
I
I
didn't
think a
play
lot of it,
anything with them for a long time
a
until
lot of it
Warzone
was like,
happened.
yeah, there was a majority of a lot of those games before they started bringing in like crossplay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, there was a majority like playing Fortnite. All my friends had PlayStations,
Yeah.
and so we were playing Fortnite together there. And I remember my buddy Rouse, he was sitting there. He had Xbox. He had no one to play with, so he got
Right.
himself a PlayStation. And then not 1 month later, crossplay came out. Yeah, and he's like, motherfucker, my signups and everything's on there. All these skins. Now I got these dumbass skins. I was like,
Right.
Rouse, chill, chill, chill.
Yeah. No, but that was like,
But
that's what's crazy is like when that happened and like that divide happened, like I didn't play games. Me, Buzz, Damon, all them, we would play Call of Duty every night, Gears every night. Like
yeah.
every night. And then I don't know what happened, but literally they were just like, we're not going Xbox, we're going PlayStation. And I'm just like, well, I'm not
Wow.
going PlayStation, I'm sticking Xbox. Didn't play games with them for like years. And
Oh.
then they actually migrated to PC. All of them kind of got off PS4, went to PC,
Mm-hmm.
but Warzone happened. And when Warzone happened, I was playing it with like Bryant and like my friend group on Xbox, and they were just like, "Nah, dude, I don't like Warzone. I have more fun with Apex." But then I found out it's crossplay, and I was like, "Yo, Buzz, are you guys playing Warzone?" They're like, "Yes, we are." And that was like a big deal because like crossplay allowed me to play with Buzz and them again. And you know what I mean? Like that's the weird thing is like you're right though. Back in the day, PlayStation and Xbox, there was no chance of playing together. And there was very much a like fuck PlayStation, Xbox is better. And I don't feel I obviously there's still morons on the internet that do that stupid shit. And it's like
And anything they do that, yeah.
that's true. That's true. Anything they do that. But they have to feel like their console's right. But now with crossplay, it's like I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
Play whatever you want.
I think crossplay killed it. I
It,
honestly
it
do
did it did take away a huge chunk of it for sure.
because it's just like I can actually play with my friends, and my friends are not going to want to hear which console's better. They're just like, just play.
Exactly.
And yeah,
And thank you,
and like you
Fortnite,
said,
because
that and
you
going to
really
PC.
made everything. Really shout out to
Oh,
Fortnite. Fortnite made
dude.
everybody change their fucking mind.
Yeah, yeah, that was an industry standard when they just set up and said, "Oh yeah, we'll do crossplay. That's fine." And then like before it was bought out, I think Rocket League was up there as well with the
Rocket League was actually the first one to say
mhm.
we could flip a switch and make this happen today. And they
Yeah.
accidentally did. Accidentally. I think
Yeah.
I think they were just tired of it and they're just like, we can make this happen. We don't need to do this
Yeah.
stupid shit. And then like they did it, and then like both companies freaked out because they were just like, yo, we never agreed to have anybody play with each other. We don't know their terms, we don't know their rules. And then
Mhm.
that's when they had to turn it off. But like them accidentally fucking turning it on, all of a sudden they were like, oh wait, this is actually not terribly hard to
Yeah.
do. And then Fortnite was like, yo, bitch, we make stupid amount of money every day. We need you guys to figure this out and lock it in. And
Yeah.
I'm not trying to shit on any one platform, but Sony was the last one to get their shit together and get it going.
They are
It,
slow. Like the whole Discord integration
oh my
is take
God.
it took and like what you have to do in order for it to get working on the Sony, like on
Yeah.
PlayStation 5. Well, you can't do it on 4. It has to be 5, which is wild to me
Uh-huh.
too.
Yep. Yeah. So that was the other thing too. So like when they did the Discord integration, Xbox did it first, right?
Mhm.
And they did the thing that PlayStation had to do originally, where you had to
Yeah.
like pull up your app on
Go
your
on
phone,
mobile, push on yeah.
push it over to Xbox, right? And then I was like, the funniest thing though is that Discord talked about a partnership with PlayStation before Xbox did that.
Yes,
And
that's
I
why
was
I was
thinking
super
like,
excited.
oh, PS5 is going to get Discord first. And then out of nowhere, Xbox is just like, oh, by the way, you can do Discord now on your Xbox. And I was like, what the fuck did you say? Like,
Yeah.
cool. Then we did it and we're like, this works perfect. Then Xbox did the good jump of allowing you
Yeah.
to choose a server in the menus, join it
Yep.
just like you would on your fucking computer.
Yeah.
And then PlayStation finally got it, and they're still stuck doing the fucking push to PlayStation
Yep.
shit. But again, like that was the bridging of gap completely, in my opinion. That was
Mhm.
the biggest thing is the voice chat, because in-game voice chat fucking sucks, homie. It
It
always
does.
will.
No matter which game, yeah,
No
it's
matter which game, it will always
yeah.
suck because they have to go to the lowest common denominator.
Mm-hmm.
And Discord is just like, no, Discord just kind of works and it doesn't sound like shit. And yeah, as soon as Discord integration happened, that's where I was like, we're finally here. We're finally at a
Yeah.
time where you can play crossplay. You can join a network that's crossplay very well, by the way. Like
Yeah.
Discord on Xbox, the only thing that sucks, it doesn't work with soundboard stuff. That's the only dumb thing I found out. Because I played a
That's weird.
soundboard thing through the Discord and Bryant didn't hear it on Xbox. I'm like, the fuck does this matter?
That's weird.
It is weird. It's the only thing that's not there yet. But hopefully PlayStation people will be able to get their shit together and be
Who
able to
knows,
join
man?
Discord. I hope so.
Sometimes there's yeah, it'd be nice.
Yeah, I think like the weird thing though is like a lot of stuff came out about the whole Fortnite thing when Apple sued Epic.
Yep.
There was a lot of stuff like Sony was like, "Yo, we're not losing money." And
Yeah.
that's why they held out. And I'm like, I kind of get it, but that doesn't look good when a court document says you guys held out because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Microsoft was like, we don't fucking care. But also, Microsoft has stupid amounts of zeros on their checking account and
Oh
in
yeah.
cash. Like, they don't give a single fuck. They're just like,
Oh.
whatever. We'll pay a couple $1 billion for gaming companies out of the fly. No big deal. No big
Yeah.
deal.
We'll start up a streaming company and then just kind of like let it die.
Yeah, exactly. We'll pay contracts of millions of dollars and go, fuck it, write it as a tax write-off.
Yeah. And then
Jesus
not even
Christ.
like I was like, dude, they had a chance. They had a chance, but they just didn't really push through.
I think, yeah, I enjoyed Mixer. I was a Mixer streamer. Like, so when I first started streaming, I did both. And then
Wow.
Mixer was just easier to grow on, but also because the people that were there there for streaming. Like, I don't know.
Specifically,
Yeah. Mixer was, and also it was built into Xbox. Like, you could choose a game.
Yeah.
You could choose a game on the store. And if you go down the store page, it's like people streaming this game. And it would promote people on Mixer who are playing the game actively. So
That's cool.
It was easier to showcase games like that, but at the same time, like to get to be a Mixer partner was stupid. It was so fucking hard. You had to have like 1,000 followers and this and this and this. And I was like, at the time, I got up to like 500 something on Mixer. And I was just like, this is crazy. And then when Mixer died, my favorite strat I did is I pulled up OBS and I made a scene in OBS that just said, I am no longer streaming on Mixer because Mixer's closing. Go to my Twitch. And I let that run 24 hours straight until Mixer shut down.
Oh, wow.
I didn't shut the stream off.
Smart. Yeah.
So I was live every fucking moment. You click on
On
my
Mixer,
stream and
yeah.
all I would just say is, go follow me on Twitch instead. And I was like, what are you going to do?
That's
Kick me
nice.
off the platform? Go fuck yourself. You're closing your
Yeah,
service. Like,
yeah.
whatever. So it worked though. I had a ton of people like slowly building my Twitch shit to the point where I went live on Twitch for 2 days. Because I was also streaming to Twitch at the same time when Mixer like decided they were shutting down. But once it officially shut down, like the next stream, I was affiliate already. I was just like, we're here, we're good. I ain't gotta worry about it. But speaking of like, so what got you into streaming though? Like, where did you
So
go
I've
from
always
this?
wanted to. When I got my nice computer,
Mhm.
I was like, I think I could stream and play, but I always was timid about I'm not good.
Right.
Like, so I was always worried about that. And then 21, my buddies and I were playing Escape from Tarkov. And I'm like, my other buddy's like, questionable gamers. He went to kick and just was having a hard time. This is like later down the road, so
Yeah.
he kind of stopped. But he and I, he said, I want to stream. I'm like, okay, I think I could do that. Are you okay if I start with you? And so we would play Escape from Tarkov, and I started learning that you don't have to be the best. You just have to be like just you
Mhm.
and somewhat entertaining. And like I just started feeling like, oh yeah, this can be done.
Right.
And so I started off without like a like I think everyone does this without a cam, and I'm like, well, I need more like retention rates because I could start seeing like people would show up and they won't. And another thing they want to grab onto is that pearly face or the pretty face with the pearly whites, and
Right.
to see what like emotions you're going through. Because when you're going through emotions and people can't see your face, that's just one less thing that they can't see. So
Agree.
I understand it's hard for some people to let go of putting your face out there, but it's one of the things that's easily grabbed.
I think the thing with the face, if you don't have a face cam, but you're stupid good at the game, it makes up for it.
Oh yeah.
That's the only where
obviously.
like it's like his Watson, which is a pro Apex player, doesn't have a face cam,
Yeah.
but his gameplay is you'll shut the fuck up and just watch him play Apex all day long.
No matter what's going on, if you're really good, you're gonna get people because obviously skill is awesome. When you watch something is good, as you were saying, growing up in the '90s
Mm-hmm.
in Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
who are you watching?
The best basketball player
Jordan.
ever to live.
Yeah.
Jordan, not LeBron. Jordan,
Yo.
best basketball player on
So
earth.
on TikTok,
Mhm.
the whole like
Who's the GOAT?
let's no like let's did you hear the whole like let's get rid of the '90s? That's enough talk about the '80s '90s. There are kids out there that are like there's one guy that showed a video of like Jordan in his early days like playing against I can't remember who it was, but like he was going up and couldn't go up to his left because he was still like building his game.
Yeah.
And they're like, see, look, that's your king, not being able to go up on the with his left, not being able to, and like they were showing like not highlights. And I'm like, oh man, some old heads. And then like I'd get like because I'm a little older, I would get like the replies from the old heads losing their shit because like, Jordan, you guys are not showing the Jordan that we know.
It's just so disrespectful. I'm so sorry. Like, it's just so fucking disrespectful. Like, I've seen videos where, like, again, I think some people say things just to get engagement
Oh
because,
yeah.
like, they know, like, dude, shut up. You act like Jordan's not the best.
You know who they
Shut
learn it
up.
from, right? Like Skip Bayless and Stephen A.
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah. There's a video. I can't remember what it is. Yeah. There's an ESPN thing where Shaq was on there and he was like talking about how LeBron's the greatest. And he's like, are you just going to forget about Michael Jordan? And he's like, what about Kobe Bryant? He's like, okay, I'm going to look at Kobe. I'm going to pass on Jordan. And Shaq's like, what the fuck are you talking about right now? Like, what are you saying to me right now? And Shaq's just like, I got to leave. I can't do this right now. Like, but also like, I think the thing is funny though, too, is like, that's the case with honestly anything. Cause obviously nostalgia plays a huge factor in what you like. Example, everybody hits that age where new music sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already there. I've already hit that wall. I'm like, I've listened to newer rock stuff and I'm like, it's okay. It's no Slipknot. It's no this, whatever band you want to say, right? Everybody hits that wall. Same thing with gaming. Everybody has games that they grew up on that they're like, you don't fucking get how good this game is. You guys play Fortnite, shut up. It's just the age that you grew up in. And like, there's a certain nostalgia that it's just time of your life where certain things click. Example, me, 90s, Jordan. Nothing will ever be better than Jordan. I'm sorry. Stats, you could say stats, but again, though, kids growing up now are going to say Steph Curry is the best player they've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's fine because that's their generation of stuff. But same thing with games, too. I mean, games, music, sports.
Well, I mean, legitimately, if we put it on pen and paper, games now, okay, now I'm not going to say, I'm just saying visually, they are so much better than what they were.
Infinitely.
The soundscape is so much better. Sometimes I was holding my breath.
Story,
gameplay,
writing, but gameplay.
Yeah,
I would play Mario World over a ton of games now, right? Yeah, I would literally actively go, if you gave me these two games, I'd rather play Mario World, even though it doesn't look visually as good. The gameplay itself is still core and still good.
That's what I'm saying about sports too. Like sports, like legitimately, these players are so much more athletic, and bigger and stronger. But the game of basketball is totally different.
Exactly.
How would they be able to handle against, these like just goons in the paint waiting for you to come in and take a foul?
Knock the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like will I say LeBron is athletically more gifted than Jordan? Sure. Because he spends millions of dollars a year to make sure his body's in peak shape. Jordan stayed up gambling till 6 a.m, smoking cigars, and would show up at 10 a.m. and beat the fucking brakes off your team. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Don't forget about the 36 rounds of holes that he played before the game too.
Dude, like there's just differences. And again, I'm not saying one's better, but like, yeah, athletically, sure. But again, it's like, you're right though. Like it's the same thing now, like technology wise. Game developers have access to billions of more things. An idiot here, can make a game if I want to. I can go online, I can get tools, I can make games, right? I have access to more things. Doesn't necessarily mean I can make better games.
But then,
but it's just different.
A Link to the Past came out how long?
30 years ago.
And it's considered one of the better games ever.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. It's all, and also too, games hit you differently at different times.
And that's like legitimate. That's not like a hyperbole or an opinion.
That's like on a list of many people's list of like one of the top big games, Ocarina of Time. graphically looks like shit compared to fucking Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter gameplay wise, story wise, like that is a special thing in time that, and that wasn't a pun. That is a special moment when, like, again, it hits you differently. Like Metal Gear Solid to me is still one of the best games ever made, because at the time, no other game's story and characters and cutscenes, by the way, those things weren't happening, right? The whole getting Meryl's code, which I don't know if when you had to look at the back of the fucking CD case in the game, and for all you people that don't know, in the game, it said you had to get Meryl's codec code to call her as a mission in the game. It kept saying, look at the back of the CD case. And there was no fucking item in the game that was a CD case that you could look at. And then my buddy, who's sitting,
like breaking the fourth wall.
My buddy sitting next to me fucking grabs the Metal Gear game physically, turns it around and goes 143. I'm like, where are you reading this? And it was on the back. It said Meryl had her codec. I'm like, my fucking small teenage mind was like, this is ridiculous.
Dude, when I had to switch my controller to controller port 2.
Yep.
What the fuck, video games?
Dude, yeah. Like, and then it would read your Konami saves. It's like, oh, I see you like to play Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I'm like, how do you know this? Like, this, it knows me. This is weird. Those are the types of moments that like are special, that will always be like,
oh yeah.
And then you could say like, that moment in gaming is better than this person. But again, somebody in Fortnite, their first victory royale is going to be their greatest moment ever. Everybody's got their own thing. And that's the beauty about this show, is like, I like hearing everybody's different stories of, you know, what got them where they got them to. So it's awesome, man. So if people wanted to check you out on the internet, where would they go do those things?
Twitch.tv/HereComestheWoo. That's with 6 O's. YouTube, YouTube.com. Just search Here Comes the Woo with 6 O's. Twitter with 2 O's. And that's about it. Yeah.
By the way, friend who has the normal one, just give it to him. Like, just give him the normal one. Let him have it all in the same.
He actually asked me if I wanted it back. I'm like, it's become like a pride thing now.
Okay, it's become a pride thing.
Be 6 O's.
He'll always be 6 O's. So, Woo, thank you so much for being on the show. Technical issues and all, I had a blast talking to you. Thanks, man.
I really enjoyed this. Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure. And everyone, like, subscribe, and smash the notification little bell.
What you just said. Thanks, Woo. All right, Woo, thank you so much for being on the show. Remember, if you guys want to check out any of the stuff he's doing, twitch.tv/HereComestheWoo with 6 O's. He also has Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'll have links in the show notes there. So if you want to check out any of his content, make sure you guys subscribe on all of those platforms. Again, thank you guys so much for being here for another episode. Remember, if you guys do want to check out this episode each and every month, make sure you guys subscribe on YouTube or subscribe on your local podcast platform of choice. Every month, we'll be releasing new episodes with new guests. And again, if you guys want to be on the show just like Woo was, make sure you guys send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter, or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast. Of course, you can send me a whisper on Twitch. You can comment on YouTube. Whatever you guys want to do, get a hold of me. I'd love to have you guys on. Thank you guys so much. I greatly appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next month with another new episode.